All right, so
Kim, don't
who are
forget to
we?
put on your mic if you haven't. Aaron, you click hers on, right? Scott?
Yep. We're good.
Mr. Chairman.
We're called to order. We'll take roll call. Who am I missing? Mastelier, and who else did you say? Mastelier has to be excused.
That's it.
Askey.
See, I knew there was one.
Virginia's not here. She didn't contact me. I can double check here quick, but no contact. That's not like her. What's with that, tax season?
It is.
Maybe that's it. All right, well, anyway, we'll carry on without them. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Well, unless she's running, I'm not waiting. Poppy, motion, and second by Supervisor Yonke. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Askey is now present. She missed roll call, but we'll add her in. All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from previous Supervisor Augustine, second by Kroll? Is there discussion on the minutes? Everything looks correct on the minutes. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the committee? Anybody wish to speak? No? Going once, twice? Nobody wants to speak to the committee. All right, administrators report.
All righty, thank you, Mr. Chair. You have the personnel report in front of you. In fact, this will kind of all merge together, both A and B, Mr. Chair. Carol Stibbs has put in her retirement notice. She'll be retiring in September, which gives us plenty of time to find her replacement. And if that's done internally, which I assume it will be, then that still gives us plenty of time then to recruit for that vacancy that would be coming. As you're seeing from the recruitment standpoint, there are a lot of positions that are open. We're still looking for child support specialists. We have a couple CCS folks. We have the part-time emergency management assistant. We believe that we will have the highway worker filled. The interviews have been done. Jail dispatch sergeant, that will more than likely be filled close. And we're still doing recruitments on jail dispatchers. I'm going to guess that we'll need a couple more after that. And then we also have within human services, social worker that we're looking at as well. And if you'll indulge me, Mr. Chair, then I'll just kind of put this into B, which deals with staff recruitment issues. So I kind of wanted to give the committee a chance to hear from some of the department heads as to the difficulty that they're kind of having in trying to recruit folks. We have our clerk of court here. We have gone through 2 separate recruitments with the clerk of court's assistant position. In the first recruitment, we offered the position to our first candidate, and they turned it down. And then we offered it to a second candidate who then turned it down. And then we did a second recruitment and offered it to the first person who turned it down. So we're looking now at possibly going to a third recruitment for that. I know that in emergency management, we've been trying to do some interviews, and some of those have been virtual or trying to be virtual. And with CCS, so I guess instead of me trying to speak for them, I'll let Ms. DeTurville talk about what she's been seeing in the applicant pool. And in that same respect, if either Mr. Wisnicki or Ms. Nolenberg wants to provide some comment, they can do so as well.
Okay, I have some requests regarding the titles and wages for the staff within my department. The positions are currently titled as Deputy Clerk of Court, currently held by Marlia Dorner. Clerk of Court Assistant, vacant, posted twice and offered to 3 people. Clerk of Court Secretary, vacant since October 2016. And I have not asked that this position be posted since then due to the efficiency of the staff that I had remaining at that time. I would like to see the titles changed as follows. Deputy Clerk of Court / Financial Specialist. Marlia continues to be in this role. I consider her as my chief deputy. She handles the financial adjustments made within the system. This is in addition to the caseload that is assigned. The work that she performs on a daily basis needs to be meticulous and accurate. I feel that an increase in wages is warranted. Deputy Clerk of Court. I deputize all the clerks within the office. This is necessary to accomplish the duties we all perform on a daily basis. Each clerk has a caseload assigned. This means filing documents, dealing with customers on the phone or in person, clerking the hearings when in court, preparing any necessary orders or judgments as required. The Clerk of Court Assistant position became vacant on December 3rd, 2021. We have posted the position 2 times already. The first time we had 2 clear front runners. It was a struggle to determine which person may be a better candidate. The job was offered to an individual. This person declined after thinking about it overnight. The job was then offered to the second individual. There was verbal acceptance. Then, after a few days, she declined due to a better offer elsewhere. None of the other candidates had strong qualifications. We reposted the position. We had a very clear front runner in this batch of applicants. None of the other candidates possessed strong qualifications. The job was verbally offered to the front runner. We discussed the start date. 2 days later, I received a call indicating that she was declining due to a better offer. I feel that changing the titles and wages will hopefully draw more qualified candidates. We are getting some, as you can see, but they are taking better paying positions elsewhere. I believe my budget would be able to accommodate the request due to the length of the vacancy and also because when I budgeted for the position, it was for an individual who was at a higher step in wages. I also want to make it clear that my request is for both positions to have wage adjustments in addition to title changes. It would not be fair to bring in a new person at a higher wage and leave my current staff at their current wage. Marlia has been with the office since 1997. She has a lot of knowledge regarding her caseload and the requirements for it. It seems that the county doesn't have a strong appreciation for the knowledge that our longstanding staff members possess. The philosophy has changed to get someone in at a lower wage and keep them for a couple of years. If they move on, so be it. I appreciate my staff and the knowledge that they possess. Our customers appreciate speaking with someone that is knowledgeable when they deal with us. And I'm sure that all of you appreciate getting quality service when you deal with someone on an issue. We are public servants. We owe it to the residents of Kewaunee County to have knowledgeable staff. We need to retain that knowledgeable staff in addition to attracting qualified candidates. Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right, any questions? Discussion?
Right now, the 2 positions that I had were Deputy Clerk of Court, and then the other one is titled Clerk of Court Assistant. There is a 3rd position which has not been posted, and I am not currently requesting at this point in time, assuming I get qualified staff for the other position where we can function with 3 of us in the office.
So Becky, you said you have 3 in the office right now?
Or right now, there's just myself and Marlia, so there's only 2 of us.
Okay. Any other questions? Do we wish to put this on an agenda for future month? Since it was merely under report this month. Yes, sir. Supervisor Romden.
It's still not. There we go.
There
How's
you
that?
go.
Is there a suggestion or a request as to what the position should be titled and what the proposed increase in wage would be?
I believe, and Becky, if I misspeak, please jump in. Becky was wanting to do it as Chief Deputy Financial Manager. I think if she's wanting to differentiate between her deputy clerk, she could make one a chief deputy, and then just the chief deputy is taking care of the financial stuff, and then the others are deputies. That would be mine. As for what the pay would be, that's not something that we've had a very detailed discussion about. And I think part of the reason why is because we're also looking at the broader issue of just recruitment in general. And so what I'm unsure of and what kind of the discussion would be about is there anything that this committee would like? And I guess before I jump too far into that, Tom, I'm sorry, Supervisor Romden, I'm not sure if either Mr. Wisnicki or Ms. Nolenberg want to speak. I want to make sure that they have the chance as well, if they want to. So that way we can talk about what I believe is a larger issue regarding kind of recruitment. So if that is okay with you, Mr. Romden, would it be okay if we just wait a little bit?
Sure.
Supervisor Poppy, you have, oh, sorry, were you still speaking?
No,
Supervisor Romden?
otherwise, those two specific things, I know we're not going to take any action on it tonight, but if we put that on a future agenda with a proposed job description, job title and wage, that we could consider
Well,
it
we
then.
would need that information for consideration before the next, before it would be on the next agenda, so that they would know what they were considering. Supervisor Poppy, you had a question?
Yeah, my question is, what is the current starting wage right now?
That's why I left, because all of a sudden I forgot that I'd need the pay plan. So Deputy Clerk of Courts currently at step one, the starting wage is $18.84.
The deputy, I'm
The
sorry.
deputy, yes. And then the assistant is $17.20. So the vacancy that we have right now, step one is $17.20. That is the current one.
What are the requirements for the position currently?
There is a position description that as for, there is no college degree that is needed. What you want is, what they look at is a certain amount of experience in, I'll call it legal, which always helps, but I'll let Becky kind of tell you what she's looking for.
We are looking for someone that has some office background for sure. Having some legal background would be nice, but not necessary. Obviously, we are going to have to train whomever takes the position. There is not a degree needed, just, the ability to understand the legalese that can be going on throughout the daily tasks.
These are full-time positions with benefits.
Correct.
But the one position has been vacant since 2016, correct?
That is correct, and I did not request that be filled because the two staff members that I had remaining were very efficient, and we were able to absorb and keep things running smoothly.
So that is the 1884 position.
No,
No,
No, both. So I'll do it easiest way in this respect. The position that is open right now is the $17.20. That is the Assistant Clerk of Courts. As for the Clerk of Courts Secretary, that is actually, that position has been taken off the pay plan because since 2016, we have not filled that position. So therefore, if we were to ever decide to bring that back, we would then bring back the old pay scale for that. As for Marlia, she is in the job title of Deputy Clerk of Courts, and that's the one that starts at 1884. And if I'm understanding correct, Becky, what you kind of like to do is instead of hiring a clerk of courts assistant, you would just like to hire another deputy clerk of courts and make Marlia your chief deputy.
And so we don't have any idea about what we're thinking of increases, what you're proposing. Is that correct?
Correct. I have not put forth any wage scale for a chief deputy clerk of court.
Tracy, did you wish to speak?
I really didn't come to speak tonight. I just came to listen, but our office too, we're looking to fill the emergency management assistant position, which has been vacant since the middle of February. There have been limited applications that came in. With that, now the job is posted till open. We have tried doing virtual interview, which did not go through. And the in-person interviews have, for various reasons, have had to be rescheduled. So right now, still looking to be able to interview. I have not been given a reason by anyone that has postponed or canceled as to why they decided not to move forward.
Other comments, questions? All right.
So I guess the purpose of this, at least for right now, to the committee is that what we continue to see and the difficulty that we're seeing is a couple different things. And I'm not telling you stuff that you don't already know for the most part. It's a employees market. So what we've seen at least 2 times in the clerk of courts position, if not all 3 of them. But what we're starting to see is one is we'll make an offer. They'll take that back to their employer. Their employer will match it or beat it. And then they stay where they are. That's something that we're seeing. Or I'm also hearing from other department heads that there is, and I'll call it chatter, that we do have employees that are now, because of it being an employees market, that they're, what's the right word? Testing the waters. They're seeing what's out there where before they were not. I know that in the land conservation department, there is possibly one of our conservation specialists may be moving on because he or she may be able to move to a different position and make more money as well. So what we're starting to see, and it's difficult, is that we're coming up against having to fight from a compensation standpoint for talent. And go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Some of this I don't understand, because when you talk about land conservation, for example, I know people who work for the state that make substantially less than what we pay in the county. But some of this is, these are broader issues. Now, I was listening to the radio on my way in today when I was in the car, and we're now in some parts of the country going to be giving guaranteed income, for people to not work, whether they work or not, $1,000 a month. So some of this, I don't really quite know how we're going to solve. Quite frankly, people need to vote differently, I guess. When you're giving people guaranteed income and you're giving them all of these incentives to not work, I don't know how we're going to compete with that.
Well, and I know what you're talking about with it's called basic income.
There you
And
go.
I know that Stockton, California had done that. There's a few other places that have done that. None in Wisconsin.
Wausau, I think, was maybe a part, they might have had some sort of an experiment with it going on.
I don't know that the city of Wausau has done anything with basic income. There may have been discussions about it, but I know that no city has done that, at least in Wisconsin. But again, from the larger standpoint, and this is where it's difficult, and I'm more than willing to admit it's difficult, because I am not here saying that we should give all employees a $5 an hour raise, because first of all, we wouldn't be able to afford it. In that same respect, I do believe that if I were to make a recommendation to this committee, I think that from basically now until budget time, that we need to be looking at wage scales and pay plans and see what's out there from a market standpoint, and see if we are being competitive, and really take a look at that. I know that I have a Zoom call with county administrators on every Monday morning. And there's usually about 10 administrators on the call. And you have some that are facing the exact same challenges that we are. In fact, some of them are worse. Some of them aren't able to find jailer dispatchers or jailers, or they're not able to find highway workers even. So all I'm wanting this committee, if I were to make a recommendation, is that for the next number of months, that we really start to be looking at where we are from a compensation level. How does that compare? And then in that same respect, not just that, but also then what's our ability to pay in that respect. So I believe that there are some things that we can possibly do from a recruitment and a retention standpoint. But again, the tougher part that we're seeing is that you're seeing throughout all of the media about people having sign-on bonuses and getting $5 an hour raises or $3 an hour raises. And I'm not sure that that is something that we can do, but I do believe that as a county, there is probably something we can do. I just don't know to what degree that is.
Other comments, questions, discussion?
I guess my only question then to the chair and to the committee is, would the committee like me to start bringing additional information to the committee about this issue and for further discussion, and then hopefully some type of game plan for the 2023 budget?
And it was in 2021, February, that Wausau, Wisconsin, a local city council will be only one of two in the state to join a research program focused on using for guaranteed income. But anyway, not that that's all that relevant. Although it is relevant, I mean, if we're going to pay people to, not work, or we're going to incentivize not working, I don't really quite know how those who do work are going to continue to pay the tax premiums that are going to be required to keep things staffed. Do we wish to have more information presented by the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so what do we wish to have brought forward? What are you looking for? What information?
Guess
Supervisor Augustine.
can some of these committees, I mean, looking at the clerk of courts now, if I'm understanding it right, are they looking at possibly going from 4 employees or one-time 4 employees down to 3?
No,
You know,
I think I'm sorry, Supervisor Augustine. I think what Becky is asking for right now is that they were at 3. In fact, from a budget standpoint, they're at 3. She wants to remain at 3, but that the title and compensation make it easier to retain as well as recruit people, so she can keep her 3. So that way they're qualified.
But are there also other committees that we could look at to, run them a little leaner, and that helps give it in next year's budget? It helps give the raises if there's one less person in a committee.
You know,
From that way.
the committee should bear in mind, I mean, I mean, I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do here, but if you do this in this particular in one department or two departments, you're going to have the other departments that are all going to have the same request.
So is that where if this is gonna be where it's gonna be every department, which probably will, then can we look at these departments to see that they're efficient? So like Aaron said, if, we can, since 2016, they ran with 3 employees
Mhm.
and they did it. So we, look at that to see if we can run that and look at other departments at that point.
I think what we could do, Supervisor Kroll, is we could be looking at some of that as well as from a pay plan standpoint. So what I was thinking of providing to the committee is we have the pay plan. And what I can do is provide what I would call the metadata of all of that. Because when putting together that plan, and I do it internally every few years, is I request the salaries, the pay plans of 13 counties that provide kind of the basis as to how we created our pay plan. And what I can do is I can provide that data for each position, for each step from the start point to the midpoint and then to the final endpoint, and provide the committee as to what other counties do from a step standpoint, as well as a cost of living standpoint. So that way you have a broader understanding as to what other counties do. Now, what other counties do does not in any way commit you to doing what they do, because we're Kewaunee County, we're not Calumet County. But in that same respect, it does help to provide us a little bit of an idea as to what the regional labor force is and where those wages are. So that way it gives us a better idea as to where we are, not only at one point in time, but then as employees progress through the pay plan. So I was thinking of doing that as well.
Okay. Other questions, other information? So you wish to have this on next month's agenda? And we'll have some additional information. I mean, certainly, I suppose one justification, if you want to look at adjustments in, that particular department, if they're running with fewer people than they were previously, I suppose that's some justification. But I do think, as I said, I've been in this chair long enough to know how it works. If you do it in one department, you need to be thinking about the reaction from others, which is fine. Maybe the committee thinks, we should be doing that, but understand that's how it will be viewed. It will not be, it's not isolated. All right. Anything else, Mr. Felt?
Nothing at this present time, Mr. Chair.
All right, review. What is review under?
Yeah, that was a typo.
Okay. Say review what? Okay, so the next meeting for this committee would be on May 9th.
I did it as May 9th, which is actually the second Monday, but
Okay.
with May 2nd, then that would only be 3 weeks from now. So to kind of keep it in 4-week increments, I did it as May 9th as opposed to May 2nd, Mr. Chair.
As long as we remember to make the adjustment on the next one. That actually works better for me. I'm out of town in theory on May 2nd. So,
Now I
You
could
did
brag and
good.
say that I knew that, but I, so,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I'm still on this committee on May 9th, I will not be at that meeting.
you'll be deeply missed. Why, you got some big plans going on, or? You don't think you'll be there either?
is that the,
May 10th.
is that a?
What do you
highway
got
thing?
going on? Something important, something more important than this? Oh, town board, okay, well. Well, I don't know how the town could run without you. What
Mr.
about-
Chair, I know sometimes at the organizational meeting, the committees will
Yes.
get together and maybe kibitz about when a
Well,
meeting-
I'm not going to be inclined to change. We have it set now that all of these committees meet at on the same day and time each month, which is the feedback I've gotten is that people really like that rather than living through the nightmare month to month of, figuring that out. So I'm going to keep that schedule unless the newly established committees desire to do different. However, on this one, it does appear we have a complication. How about May 10th?
I probably can't, but it's just me.
The second was going to be close on when we are now. You can't do the 10th?
Well.
Okay, well, I'll just take you off of this committee.
That's fine.
Let's do the 9th. Supervisor Poppy thinks he may be able to change his social calendar. Sorry, that was a joke. Please relax, everybody. All right. All right. Is there anything else that the committee needs to take up tonight? All right. I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Poppy,
I'll
second.
second.
Supervisor Teske, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion adjourned. Thank you.
They were concerned where you were, Virginia. You're waiting and waiting, I suppose, correct?